You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you are with us today. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM, cklu.ca. Click on the Radio Player Canada app and stream us. Also, download it and take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. We're also live streaming at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow. Mainly comment, though, because that's what the show is for. It's your conversation on your station. It's your views on the news, local and abroad. We discuss both, and today there's no exception. The headline is still, and the main topic in this city is still the fact that we're looking for Ward 2 Councillor Michael Vagnini, who has been missing since late in the afternoon, early evening, Saturday. It's almost a week. It's going on 5 days at least. Today's Friday, so 6 days. It'll be a week tomorrow. And we'll have more on that. There's people working together in the community to look and search. Police are receiving tips, although I thought the amount was pretty low in terms of tips, but they received 12 tips so far, as of last night anyways. As far as we know, we're getting the latest on this up until half an hour ago or 15 minutes ago, unless he's been found in the last 15 minutes. We'll have the latest on that. We'll have a conversation on it. We'll have weather, sports. The Wolves were in action last night. They pulled off an overtime victory. It needed overtime against one of the worst teams in the OHL, but sometimes those are the ones that can creep up on you and take you unawares. So Sudbury Wolves winning in overtime. We'll have that a little bit on that. 5 are in action tonight, and we'll have local headlines and a deep dive into the state of our country, and maybe why some things are the way that they are, as polarizing as it is becoming in our country, as ununited as it's ever been. There's reasons for that, right? Especially over the last 8 years, it's gotten very bad. And leadership is usually the thing that sets the tone for things like that. And if you think of who's at the top of leadership in Canada, we need to start looking, even if we don't want to, at the kind of leadership that we have here and what's behind it. What's the end game? What are the goals of this particular leader of this particular country? So we'll have more on that, and after the weather, sports, and news, local and abroad. So stay tuned for all things Sudbury News. It's going to be a great show. Stay with us, and we'll have your comments when we come back after the weather and sports. Hang in there. And weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Currently, it's -11. Feels like -19. And that's for sure. I've actually felt like -50 out this morning. And there's light snow. Even though the app that I have says it was totally clear. It was definitely freezing cold. And also it was snowing. So even though it said that it was clear. So, okay. So let's see here. Mainly cloudy, 30% chance of flurries early this morning, clearing in the morning, and -2 will be the high, wind chill -17 in the morning, -6 in the afternoon. They started adding the wind chill in the afternoon again. So that's great. Thanks, Environment Canada, for that. Tonight, clear. Wind will be very mild. Low of -9, wind chill -8 in the evening, -14 overnight. Saturday, sunny. Mild wind, high of +2. Sunny and +2 tomorrow. Wind chill -14 in the morning. But yeah, +2 in the afternoon. Look at that. We're back to 3 days of sun in the forecast starting. It was supposed to be today, but now it's moved to tomorrow. And +2, but +1 and sunny on Sunday, or -2 and sunny on Monday. Not a cloud in the forecast for 3 days in a row. Again, they're pretty interesting, these Environment Canada people. So anyways, I'm going to be going back in my broadcast on Monday just to look back at some of the things I said about the fact that I don't believe we're going to have even one full sunny day, let alone 3 or 4, as they were predicting at one point. Look up in the sky tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. You tell me if you spot a cloud, it means my prediction came true, or even something in the sky that looks like a cloud, something white or dark, or something in the sky that looks cloudy, like somewhere. It could be in the distance. There's going to be something somewhere. It will not be 100% sunny. I dare them. Anyways, Tuesday, mix of sun and cloud, -2, -1, mix of sun and cloud on Wednesday, and 0 and cloudy on Thursday. And again, right, February the 8th, 0. We are, 1 week now into February, 3 weeks away from March, and the high is 0. Interesting winter we have here, nonetheless. Look at your satellite. So you see it's cloudy over Sudbury and eastern Ontario and south of us. And you can see some of that clearing above with some clouds too. So, but again, Environment Canada wants to go out on a limb and predict 3 days of absolute sun. Believing it when we see it. But thanks for that. Just the idea of that makes us happy. So we appreciate anything you can do for us. And we'll be back with a little bit of sports right after this. That's your Sudbury Weather, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. And Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.ca. For all things Sudbury Sports, visit SudburySports.ca, which lands right on our Sudbury.news web page, which is a news aggregator. So it also includes sports. So all the sports that's written about by a lot of capable sports journalists in town aggregates, meaning all comes into one location for you. So you don't have to go all over the place and find it. It's right there. Sudbury Wolves in action last night against the Niagara Ice Dogs. And it actually took overtime for them to come out with the W. But we're grateful for that. And here's a look at the score.
Levin has Musty to deal with. Goyette through, they score! Quentin Musty beat Levin, scored the goal in overtime, and the Wolves win on the road.
Sudbury gets possession, and they are on their horse. Now watch 27 at the bottom of your screen. He's going to beat Levin in a race to the net and does a great job of closing that deal.
So again, the Sudbury Wolves come out with the W last night against the Niagara Ice Dogs. They are in action again tonight against the Brantford Bulldogs, formerly the Hamilton Bulldogs. But Brantford and Sudbury fighting for number one spot in the Eastern Conference. Going to be a hard-fought game. You can catch that game right here on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio, cklu.ca on the radio, or you can go to mixlr.com/Sudbury Wolves. And I don't know if you can still comment on there or not, but they had it so you can actually comment during the game. So Sudbury Wolves come out last night, overtime victory against the Niagara Ice Dogs 4-3, and tonight face the Brantford Bulldogs. And then they're back in town on Sunday to face the now Mississauga Steelheads, going to be soon the Brampton Steelheads. So that's in the works right now, and it's pretty much almost a done deal. The Brampton Steelheads. I got Brantford and Brampton. Anyways, so Brampton Steelheads are the Mississauga Steelheads are moving to Brampton, but they'll be in town before they move to Brampton or whatever this Sunday. So make sure to get out and catch the game. And speaking of getting out and catching the game, the Sudbury Five in action tonight in Sudbury against Newfoundland. They're visiting the Sudbury Arena. Make sure to get some tickets. Get out, have a good time. It's a good time with your family and friends. It's a cheap night out. It just is, and it's great. It's a great atmosphere. Get out and have fun tonight with your Sudbury Five and then Sudbury Wolves on Sunday. That's Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and much more right after this. Okay, and obviously the subject we're going to be talking about today is our Ward 2 councillor, Michael Vagnini. We have a press conference by Greater Sudbury Police that took place last evening. We'll check in on what they had to say there. We'll look into what the different news outlets are saying about it. We'll have a couple other headlines, and we'll move on there. And now I know Miles texted me. Appreciate that you are at the hospital already this morning, getting prepped for some surgery, and you heard CBC Radio talking about Councillor Vagnini that was very negative on his last few years on council. So that was what they were saying on CBC this morning. And and a lot of people appreciated that because he was fighting for a certain group of people that felt marginalized. As far as I've been able to find, a lot of people felt that he was a really great counselor, digging in his heels and not just going along with other people on council. But sometimes that is not beneficial for moving things forward, and you have to be diplomatic. And so, yes, there are some people that thought he was a little bit negative on council, thought that he was struggling a little bit, and weren't really sure how he was doing mentally, emotionally. So here we have, a lot of people felt this is like, they're not surprised that he is missing from the people that I've spoken to. So they were concerned with his state of mind over the past couple of years. But at the same time, a lot of people did appreciate the things that he was fighting for. It came across negative, came across that he wasn't playing ball with everybody a lot. But definitely a lot of people felt he was in their corner, just not going along with everyone else. So with that, good morning, Judy. First to the Facebook party. Much appreciated. Thanks for being on with us. Jesse, good morning. Or Jess, sorry. Sharing a link on Facebook. Thank you for doing that. And good morning to you. Monique, good morning. Sudbury, much appreciated. And if Jess, if you're hoping that we could share a link on the show, I can't do it in the comments. If someone shares something, other people will have access to it, however. So Ward 2 Councillor search. Oh, that's the link to the Ward 2 Councillor Michael Vagnini. People searching for him. I appreciate that. Thank you. Debbie, good morning. thanks for being with us. Sunshine smiley emoji, which is very, 3 days of sun is what Environment Canada is telling us. I can't wait. Belinda, good morning. Let go the mistake. Remember the lesson. Be kind to yourself. Life isn't always easy to navigate, and that is true. Thank you so much for that. Learn from our mistakes, and sorry is the hardest but simplest word you can say a lot of times. If you goof up and it involves someone else or letting down someone else, you can easily say sorry. Not easy to do, but it's just one word, and if you mean it, it's even better. Leandre, we need a new hospital for the growing population and aging in Sudbury region. Possibly, yeah. And good morning to you, as well as Brian. Good morning, Nickel City campers. Wishing you all an awesome Friday and a great weekend. Thanks, Brian. Much appreciated. And Jess also says, what did the groundhog say? That's today, right? Yeah, groundhog, if he sees his shadow, I don't know what it's going to mean this year. If it means an early spring, we basically have had spring-like weather all winter in a way, right? But yeah. Okay. Yes, that's true. The weather, if it is what they say, especially sunny, it's going to be definitely good to get out and have people rallying to see if they can do their part in searching for our counselor, Michael Vagnini, this weekend. This weekend. Good morning, everyone from Barrie. That is Marianne. Thank you, Marianne, and liked and shared as usual. I really appreciate that. And Belinda also says to Leon, yeah, we had more than one hospital at one time, right? So, and now we went into one hospital. Trying to find sunshine is like trying to find Waldo, as you remember. Where's Waldo? Marianne also, they are calling for sun mostly all next week, LOL. Believe it when I see it. Gray and cloudy has become the new normal here, and that's in Barrie. And morning, Vin. Thanks for joining us. Much appreciated. Jess also says that police and firemen hockey game this week. Info found on their Facebook pages. Thank you so much for that. I think that went ahead last night, as far as I know, and it was a success. I know Brian Cooper was there, doing the voice on the loudspeaker there. He usually does the games for CKLU when we cover the Wolves, and he's the morning guy on Pure Country. He's on right now on the country radio station here in town. Shout out for him. Yeah, love El Nino winters twice, or nice and warm for sure. Big news in the OHL. Yeah, moving from Mississauga to Brampton, as we mentioned in the sports report this morning. Christina, thanks for joining us, sharing a Facebook page as well with us. The volunteer Facebook page for the search party tomorrow. Thank you very much, guys, for doing that. Much appreciated. So again, people are coming together and taking initiative, which is great. The community coming together to search for Michael Vagnini. And good morning from Espanola. Blessings, Denise. Thank you. Mott's addressed the Committee on Public Safety and National Security, and the Liberals attempted to minimize the federal ruling and gaslit the government's role in charter violations. Well, I mean, it's very political, right? The fact that they were found in violation of human rights by invoking the Emergencies Act. They were way overreaching with that. Good morning, Mike. Thanks for being with us this morning. And thanks for taking the time to chat with me yesterday as well concerning Michael Vagnini and reaching out to try and find as much information out as you could as well, concerned like many other Sudburyans on his whereabouts and his well-being. Denise, gas, sporting events, consumer junkies are all responsible for feeding the war. Okay, well, thanks for that. I don't disagree with you on that one at all, Denise. Okay, so I can't imagine what it's like to sit on council and get frustrated by the status quo. He was up against ridiculous policies. If he was frustrated, rightfully so, sometimes people are just people and emotions get in the way. How many people are frustrated with the government? 100%. I'd have to say I am one of those people, and but I don't get overly frustrated because I'm not going to let it inhibit my personal happiness in any way. But yeah, I think intellectually and where I stand ideologically, I'm very, I guess you can say I can get frustrated, but I'm at odds with it anyways. I can tell you that much. Exactly. And of course, first thing they do is deem someone mentally ill. Why? Because he wasn't playing nice in the sandbox. Yeah, no, again, right? So these are the things we're sorting through here. However, let's say he was still standing up for things that were, taking a lot of integrity and whatever, but it still could have taken its toll on him in a you know what I mean, in a derogatory way on his mental health. You know what I mean? So these things could have contributed if he indeed is not in a good mental state. Sudbury Arena is cashless. Yes, that is true. And we would hope that it wouldn't be, because there's a lot of people that are discriminated against due to that, correct? A lot of people not up on technology and would prefer to use cash. Are we going to vote vote cash away as a society, or is it just going to be done kind of thing? And we have no choice in that, right? So many comments coming through. I just want to get them up on the screen. Time is of the essence. And if we have anybody new on, or morning shout outs, which we indeed have here, Anne Marie, good morning. Beautiful people. Thanks for joining us. We have quite a few people on now. We want to get started with the stories of the day, and in time for a bit of a deep dive afterwards as well. I got some really cool stuff queued up, from a perspective of outside people looking at Canada, what it looks like, and some interesting takeaways they've had looking at our country and the state that it is in. So, Tulsi Gabbard, I believe is her name. She has some interesting commentary on our current state of affairs, what's going on. And then Patrick Bet-David is interviewing an individual who also puts it in pretty good perspective. Watching now from London, Ontario. Thanks for joining us, Janice. Much appreciated. Going to be a great show. We have a city councilman who is been missing since last Saturday, almost a week now. And we have a police media scrum here with from the CBC. They were there. And so let's listen in on the latest from our Sudbury Police and the whereabouts of Ward 2 Councillor Michael Vagnini.
Barry Ornella, Detective Staff Sergeant in our Major Crime Section. This past Saturday, Mr. Vagnini was reported missing by members of his family. That was reported to the Greater Sudbury Police Service. Through the course of the past days, our Search and Rescue and Rural Division has conducted extensive searches by vehicle, as well as traditional ground search methods and aerial search through our drone operators. We also have our automatic license plate reader cameras throughout the city, the stationary cameras. Other jurisdictions also do as well. So we have reached out to other agencies throughout Ontario providing his vehicle information in hopes that that may in fact assist us in locating where his vehicle is. We did provide in the media yesterday that there was a look-alike vehicle that was captured traveling towards Lively from the McCharles Lake area. Since that time and doing a more extensive review of the video, we're now satisfied that that was not Mr. Vagnini's vehicle. So again, we revert back to the point last seen of McCharles Lake, and we expand our search 360 degrees to try and determine did he travel west out of the city, east back into the city, and at this point, we don't rule out any possibility of where he might be. We've been in touch with border services. We can account for his passport, so we can confidently say that we do not believe that he's crossed out of Canada borders. However, as you can imagine, it's still a very expansive search. So we activated a tip line in recent days, and the public has been tremendously helpful so far, not only with the tip line, but also assisting and taking it upon themselves to search our community. We have received well over a dozen tips so far. And we continue to encourage the public, especially those who've had any contact or interaction with Mr. Vagnini in the days leading up to his disappearance, to please share that information. We still remain hopeful, and we are treating this as a search and rescue. We hope that this has a positive ending, and our efforts remain robust in hopes that we can account for his safety and his well-being.
So again, thanks to CBC for that. They're at the press conference yesterday. The police, Greater Sudbury Police, conducting that. And thanks for that particular spokesperson from the police giving us that report. Good morning, Denise. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe and healthy. Yes, that safety is the theme of today, as we are worried, and we have many of the community coming together to search for our counselor, Michael Vagnini. Where thoughts and prayers are with his family, with him, hoping for his safe return. So yeah, here it is. Several smaller communities within Sudbury, this is from Sudbury.com, are adding a helping hand to the search for Ward 2 Councillor Michael Vagnini and are listing the areas they've covered online. Now, we've had a few viewers already share a few links this morning for us. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And good morning, Liette. Thanks for joining us as well. Vagnini, who is 62, was last seen driving a black 2021 Ram 1500 truck with Ontario license plate BK22178. And it is he has a broken right side passenger taillight. So the passenger side taillight in the back is broke. So these communities include Sudbury Freedom Convoy Facebook group, who have been searching since they heard of his disappearance. And a photo of Vagnini meeting with the group on Saturday. Now, again, just because speaking with Monique about this, she said that he wasn't there, not that he didn't support the Freedom Rally. They get together every Saturday there. Not that he doesn't support it, he does, but he wasn't actually at the rally. He came afterwards. So he came while everyone was packing up. And that's why a lot of people there have a lot of information. That was the last time he really spoke to anybody that anyone knows of. And he said a lot of things. And so there's a lot of stuff that could be looked at as, something that would be telling of where he might be, and I think police should take those things a lot more seriously. Maybe there's something he said in there from when he spoke to the individuals that can help in the search for him, right? So anyways, a photo of Vagnini meeting with the group on Saturday after they were already packing up on January 27th is the last known photo of him. And in it, he's wearing the yellow hockey jersey he was last seen wearing, which was an Erie Otters shirt, I believe. And there's also those posing with Vagnini, holding up the Canadian flag that he wanted to purchase, actually. But they said, you know what, we're not selling them, but we have one for you if you want. So they all took a picture with him holding the flag. You might see that around. According to the Freedom Convoy site, in Sudbury. Their members have covered McCharles Lake Road, Burr Oak Drive, Panache Lake Road, St. Pache Lake Road, Desormeaux Road, Isaac Road, Grassy Lake Road, Tower Road, Carroll Road, Airport Road, Makela Road, Elman Road, and at least 12 others, including High Falls Road, Agnew Lake Mine Road, and Lockerbie Mine Access Road. That's a lot of grounds that this particular group has covered in searching for him. And thank you guys for that. That's pretty incredible. If you have been searching on your own for him, please email the editor of Sudbury.com. They'd like to know, kind of like to be part of the getting the word out and part of the community search efforts, right? The media does have responsibility with that, and you can see Sudbury.com more than willing to do that. And let us know the areas you're searching. As part of a news release yesterday, or 2 days ago now, the Greater Sudbury Police released a residential video surveillance camera that captured Vagnini's truck traveling westbound on McCharles Lake Road between Whitefish and Naughton at approximately 5:40 p.m. on that day, on the Saturday. This, Greater Sudbury Police Service noted in a media release issued at 4 p.m. on the 31st, is the last verified sighting of the Greater Sudbury City Council member for Ward 2. Based on that information, it is believed that the vehicle and driver may have left the area, according to their media release. Shortly after 5:40 on Saturday, a vehicle matching the description was captured on video surveillance by a local business going the opposite way towards Lively, but that later was determined that that was not his truck somehow. Anyone who spoke with Michael in the days prior to him going missing, who has not spoken to police already, are encouraged to call by police the dedicated tip line at 705-675-9171 extension 2320. 705-675-9171 extension 2320. Detectives are looking to gather additional information regarding conversations prior to Vagnini's going missing. So the latest known details: on Friday evening or on Friday night, Vagnini posted on Facebook that he was looking to purchase a fire truck and water rescue craft for Beaver Lake. Now, in speaking with Mike Parent, who is Ward 5 City Councilor, yesterday on the phone after the show, speaking about this particular post that he made about this fire truck, it seemed a little strange in some ways, because he mentioned he was going to use his money, or he was going to purchase it, and he was going to get funds or whatever to make this happen. I forget exactly which fund he was going to use, but anyway, it's on his Facebook page. You can look that up. But Parent thought that was a little strange, because that's not the way things are done in the city. There's a protocol. Even if there is a fire truck available, the way to go about it, there's a process, right? And thought that was a little bit like, and he would have known that. And so for him to say that's the way he was going to get it was interesting. So that's telling in some ways of something. Then Saturday daytime, at some point during the day, Vagnini posted for the photo, like we talked about with the Freedom Convoy rally during their weekly gathering outside Bell Park. Then at 5:40 on Saturday, Vagnini's truck was last seen turning into McCharles Lake Road, going westbound. Saturday evening, Vagnini was reporting missing by his family. And then Sunday noon, that's when the police first issued the media release indicating that he was indeed missing, prompting numerous community members to begin their own searches, correct? So we're really grateful for those who have gone out already. Like I said, a few links have been shared to our feed on Facebook. You can check those out. Different groups searching. So if you want to be part of any search groups, you can go to any of those links, or any of the links I mentioned, groups that I've mentioned during this, and yeah, be part of the search for Michael Vagnini. And again, praying, hoping for his safe recovery, hoping that he is indeed safe and just needed some time to check out for a bit and maybe recharge his batteries. So yeah, we'll have more on that Monday. So hopefully this weekend we can get some answers. I took some time to read the report on toxic drugs here in Sudbury. The official report is called Honoring Voices, Embracing Perspectives Moving Forward. It's a summary report on the Greater Sudbury Summit on toxic drugs. And I have lots to say about this. However, I've only read half of it. So I don't feel comfortable going into it. You can go to the story on Sudbury.com. I believe they published it yesterday. And it was if you go to their stories on their website, it's the Good Morning Sudbury Stories to Start Your Day. That's usually the headline. And it's from yesterday. So they have this story there. And if you click on read more, then that opens the actual story. Then click on the report, and it's a PDF, and you can read it yourself. Okay? And there's a lot of telling things in this that I particularly take exception with and will explain why I do probably on Monday. It'll give me some time to read the report, gather my thoughts, and again, it's all about harm reduction. It's not about rehabilitating an individual, that the end goal would be that they would be drug-free. It's all about stigma, not judging people if they have a particular addiction. It's worrying that they're all treated equal and equally treated by giving them drugs without any barriers. So that's a form of, not being inclusive if you don't give them drugs if they need it. So you don't want to discriminate against someone who needs drugs. So I'm taking exception with that point of view, that ideology on complete harm reduction without rehabilitation. That's what this is about. And they're digging in their heels now. So we know we have this problem. We know BC has already gone down this road ahead of us, and we have numbers. So we can see what this type of thinking leads to. Many people are going to have blood on their hands, and many people are going to be held accountable at some point for this type of treating people who are vulnerable this way and making it political. And it's the more I was reading it, I read half of it within 15 minutes, basically, this morning before the show, hoping that I can give a little bit more of an overview of it for everyone. But just the more I was reading it, it's just oozing with political ideologies and not really about the people. So it's people that are paid way too much to pretend they care is what it is. People that are paid way too much to pretend they care. That's what this document screams in a headline. So you read it for yourself. You see what you think about this city's approach on the drug issues and problems that we have, and you let me know whether you think this is great or not. And keep in mind what is their end goal? Can you get what the end result of this particular initiative they want to collectively have everybody work towards in Sudbury? Is it to have a person off of drugs and living a normal life? Is that what you're getting from this report? And if you are, show me how you're getting it, because I don't. The means to the end is just safe drugs and keep them alive and keep them having safe drugs. So keep them in their addictions. There's no pathway to coming off of them. And that's not the end goal. The end goal is just to make sure that somebody is safe, they're housed, they're fed in their addiction. So basically enabled by society, right? In a kinder, cuddlier way. Saying it that way. Again, paid way too much to pretend to care. That's what the people involved in this, I would have to say. Because if you're listening to this and you disagree with me, all you have to do is send me a message on Facebook. It's easy to find, Sudbury News, message, Facebook me, or send an email to sudburynews@gmail.com and say, you know what, I absolutely disagree with what you're saying, and you can come on the show and we can chat about it. And you can let everybody listen to your point of view if you have a stronger point of view than what I just mentioned, that people in this particular field trying to quote unquote help these particular people who are struggling, who are very vulnerable. If you disagree that they're paid way too much to pretend to care, you can come on and make your voice heard. And I would really appreciate that, because I don't see it any other way. And it's, these are people we're dealing with, all these words that they got, big, long words, big, long statements that, make you sound smart and stuff. They don't help people. Those long words don't help anybody. And I'll tell you what I mean on Monday. So let's get a chance to dive right in a state of where maybe this comes from, because it comes top down. The leader of our country basically gives these types of initiatives the green light, and then it goes out into all the communities, and we're getting it here with the way they're looking at only harm reduction as a way to handle the opioid crisis in Greater Sudbury. And they're already doing it in BC. Check it out. Look at the numbers. See if you want that here. You want the same thing that's going on in BC. They had it there, I don't know how long, and the numbers of deaths are going up and up and up. The number of addictions are going up and up and up. Homelessness, up, up, up. And they keep doing this to try and help it. It's like pouring gasoline on a fire and basically using long words to make it sound like it's doing something good. It's putting the fire out. It's really bizarre. Anyways, a look into maybe why this country is in the way it is from its leadership on top. Tulsi Gabbard going to have a few words here. We'll be back right after this.
Just when we think that it is impossible for our leaders to show any more hypocrisy and insanity and disregard for our fundamental God-given rights and freedoms, they surprise us yet again. We have Canada and the United States that are known throughout the world to be beacons of freedom, to be these bright lights of democracy where people from anywhere and everywhere, from every walk of life, no matter your race or ethnicity or any of these other superficial differences, that every one of us has the right to freedom. The right to free speech, to express ourselves, to think independently, and to even, I dare say, express our displeasure through protesting decisions by our own government. Thinking this, we would all be wrong. Now, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in Canada has yet again very recently shown just how anti-freedom and anti-democracy he actually is.
We have a robust functioning democracy, and public protests are an important part of making sure we're getting messages out there, and Canadians are getting messages out there and highlighting how they feel about various issues. But using protests to demand changes to public policy is something that I think is worrisome.
Okay. So here we have the Prime Minister of Canada saying that, yes, we have a highly functioning democracy and people's voices, the Canadian people's voices should be heard and they have the right and freedom to protest. However, if those protests are used to demand change in government policy, then no, that shouldn't be allowed. Just in that statement in and of itself, you got to wonder how this guy doesn't see the hypocrisy in his singular phrase that freedom of speech is welcome, just don't use it to demand change in your own government. Why else would anyone go out and protest? If you are happy with everything that's going on, that your government is doing everything just right, why would you go out on the streets and lift your voice? Why would you go out and protest unless it is actually to demand change? So this statement by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is very, very revealing, actually, about what democracy means to him, and frankly, how democracy in his mind does not include free speech. So the latest example now here, again, of the hypocrisy coming from the Canadian government has to do with Jordan Peterson. Now, we've seen other examples before how Canada recently, they banned the sale of handguns. They don't believe in the right of individuals to defend themselves or their loved ones. We have seen also similarly how President Biden here in our own country has hinted at his desire to do the same. And so when we look at our own constitution, look at Canada's constitution, we see further and further infringement upon our God-given rights and freedoms. Now, Jordan Peterson is the latest victim of Canada's prosecution against free speech. He is being threatened by a government regulatory organization, the College of Psychologists, and they are threatening to take away his medical license unless he goes through retraining that is overseen by them and approved by them. And if he fails to do so, they will take away his license. And what was his offense? Well, he said some things that offended some people. We're going to go to a clip now from a member of parliament from Canada's Conservative Party. He has been in this position since 2004, and he currently serves as the leader of the opposition in Canada's parliament.
So the Ontario College of Psychologists has told Jordan Peterson that he either undergo retraining for social media etiquette or lose his license to practice as a clinical psychologist. This follows a number of complaints by people who don't like his online posts, one of which is a retweet of something I posted, another is a criticism of Justin Trudeau. Now, it should go without saying that in a free country, professionals should not lose their jobs and licenses because they express a political opinion contrary to the licensing body that's mandated by the government.
The statement that he just made really sums it up, that in a free country, people should be allowed to say what they want to say without threat of retaliation or retribution from their own government. But that's exactly what's happening to Jordan Peterson right now. He received a very threatening letter from the College of Psychologists. Jordan Peterson may have lacked professionalism in public statements made on social media and during a January 25th, 2022 podcast appearance, which happened to be on the Joe Rogan Experience. None of these complaints are coming from people who were medical patients or clients of Jordan Peterson. They're not coming from anyone that had anything to do with anyone who was a client or had any kind of acquaintance within his medical practice, which frankly has not been functioning for the last few years, simply because of the fact that since he became a publicly known figure, he has been under attack by these regulatory agencies and people who are critics of the things that he is saying. Jordan Peterson says, "What exactly have I done that is so seriously unprofessional that I am now a danger, not only to any new potential clients, but to the public itself?" It's hard to tell with some of the complaints. One involved the submission of an entire transcript of a 3-hour discussion on the Joe Rogan podcast. But here are some examples that might produce some reasonable concern amongst Canadians who care about such niceties as freedom of belief, conscience, and speech. 1, I retweeted a comment made by conservative leader Pierre Poilievre about the unnecessary severity of the COVID lockdowns. I criticized Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I criticized Justin Trudeau's former chief of staff, Gerald Butts. I criticized an Ottawa city councillor, and I made a joke about the Prime Minister of New Zealand. Now, Jordan Peterson continues to say, every single accusation is not only independent of my clinical practice, but explicitly political. Every single thing I have been sentenced to correction for saying is insufficiently leftist politically. I'm simply too classically liberal or even more unforgivably conservative. Now, here's the thing. Canada's constitution guarantees freedom of conscience, religion, belief, opinion, and expression. Our own Constitution of the United States, in the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights, guarantees the same. And yet here we are in a place where we have the leaders of these two countries who claim to be beacons and champions of democracy, President Biden and Prime Minister Trudeau, through their actions telling us a very different story about what they believe democracy to consist of. In their minds, it's very clear. Democracy does not include freedom of speech. It does not include our right to defend ourselves. And it certainly does not include the right to protest against our own government. The knowledge of these facts, paying attention to their actions rather than to their words as they speak about democracy, is important to every single one of us because it tells us how much we must stand up to protect those very rights and freedoms that are enshrined in our own Constitution.
And it is up to each individual. You never leave that up to somebody else. It is your responsibility to know if there are people that are leading you, what type of leaders they are, and what they're capable of doing. And we need to take our responsibility in that. But again, leaders lead in different ways. And what are some of their attributes or characteristics? What are the characteristics of our current prime minister? What is the end game for him? What does he want Canada to look like? He says it a lot. You can hear it a lot, like what his idea of Canada is. And he's definitely has a way different idea than what it's been. He's changing it. And whatever exists in his mind is going to happen. And here to talk more on that is a guest on Patrick Bet-David, speaking right on that exact subject.
Is Jordan Peterson still in this whole mess with
the
People's Republic of Canada?
Yeah.
Justin Trudeau.
Do you have any thoughts on that? Or
yeah, of course. I just think it's a classic example of what happens when government gets too powerful and you have an ideology that believes that they can engineer equality, which really means the only way to do that is by force. I mean, that's what happens. If you're gonna enforce your what you believe to be true because you figured it out for all of us, because you figured out the gender thing that the rest of us have been living our lives, but you figured that out. Apparently, your experts have all the answers. Your experts have all the answers on global warming. We're going to die at any minute and all this stuff. And all of this is settled science, by the way, and all of this is not up for debate. We'll just stop that. I can always tell when people don't really have good ideas when they refuse to debate or they try to silence you. That's always a good indication when they're afraid to actually open themselves up and maybe realize that their ideas aren't fully formed. Maybe there's a better idea out there and all that. But that, Justin Trudeau's not interested.
What is actually happening with
he's being asked to take a social media re-education program.
Like
how
a mea
to engage.
culpa of sorts?
No, he apparently the board of psychiatrists in the gutless board of psychiatrists in Canada is basically being told that they basically said you will lose your license if you don't take our course, and you have to pay for it, and then we'll tell you when we think you're better. It's an outrage.
One complaint submitted the full transcript of Peterson's 4-hour interview with Rogan last year, claiming that his statements on faulty climate change models and the dangers of promoting radical gender theory violated the professional code of conduct for psychologists accredited with the OCP. Peterson stands accused of undermining his profession by speaking on areas well outside his area of competence and making problematic, unethical, and unprofessional comments.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
He's got to take a remedial course on social media communications with a board-issued therapist.
It's like it sounds like a joke.
It
doesn't sound real.
But this is what happened in all these socialist utopias. This was what happened during the communist revolutions in all the countries, whether it was Yugoslavia, whether it was, Hungary, whether it was the Soviet Union, of course. This is the kind of shit you live in.
Anything with re-education.
So let me ask you, you're saying this doesn't happen in America?
I'm saying this could happen in America very
You're
easily
saying
if we're not very
happening
careful.
right now? You don't think it's happening? Like, how some of these guys are like, well, listen, I was asked to take a 6-week class on being an info, and I'm fully ready now to make my marriage work. Hey, you're required to take a 6-week course. Why it's not good to, do this or use this.
I'm less concerned with
animals or doing that or.
Well, I'm less concerned with whatever that is. I'm more concerned with what they're doing in our schools. You see, so when certain things like gender theory become settled science, and now you want to teach kindergartners to 3rd grade about sexual orientation and gender before they even have a context for what the world is about. And someone like DeSantis says this is not going to fly. Let kids be kids and figure some other things out first, please. And let parents deal with that maybe. And they call it a don't say gay bill and call it an appalling anti-trans bill, etc. That narrative just doesn't fly, dude. You didn't think about this stuff until about 20 minutes ago anyway.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.
Or not, because you can't, because we're just playing it on the show. Yeah, and so they allude to Jordan Peterson and his plight that he's going through as well, and how that's just a telling sign of basically where Canada is in its leadership and the world of Justin Trudeau, he's making happen all around. It's his Canada. And as you can see, what are the results as we've been living in? Has your life gotten worse or better since Justin Trudeau? Let us know as the conversation continues after the show in the comments. We really appreciate you. We appreciate what you're doing to help Councillor Michael Vagnini in your search efforts. So everybody, do whatever you can in any way you can. And we hope and pray for his quick recovery. Thanks for listening, everyone. We appreciate you being on. Have a great weekend as much as you can. And hopefully it'll be sunny. It'll be great weather. And I hope Environment Canada proves me wrong, because I'll love that. Actually, that'll be a great result. And we'll see you on Monday, God willing. Same time, same place, on all the same platforms. And stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Ciao, everyone.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.